College Corner for Tuesday in college hoops. Getting into 4 of my favorite plays for tonight's slate. A great slate we have. Getting this video out to you early, posting here at around 9 p.m. Looking at these lines as they come out. So if we do see any line movement, do you have any questions about these plays, you can drop a comment down below or even shoot me a message on Twitter. I'll include the link to my Twitter down below. Saturday, tough day. Went off the 3-0 Tuesday to an 0-4 Saturday with 3 of those plays losing by either half a point to half a point under. The dog didn't cover because they lost by 3 instead of less than 2. And then we had another favorite that won by 4 when we had a -4.5. But get back on the wagon. We're 3-4 now. I got 4 plays for you here on Tuesday. Let's jump into it. All right, first up, one of my favorite systems in college basketball. I'm taking the over in South Carolina and Tennessee. It's at 136.5 right now. One of my favorite things to do in college hoops, it's been crushing it for me this year. We lost it with Harvard and Yale by half a point at 143.5, finished at 143. I think we bounced back here in this spot. You got a fast-paced team and a slow-paced team. I love taking the over in these matchups. More specifically, when you get the slow-paced team as an underdog, and that's what we have here. Tennessee, one of the faster teams in the country, 48th in average possession length. And then we have South Carolina, one of the slowest teams. They're bottom 25, I think I would probably have them at 341st in average possession length. And South Carolina, significant dog here. I think when you play these faster-paced teams, you tend to see the game speed up a little bit, especially if the team that's a big-time underdog is the slow-paced team because they need to play a little bit faster in order to get themselves back in the game here. Tennessee's been money at home this year. They're one of my favorite teams in the country right now. I put in a future this afternoon actually on them to win the national title at 18-1. Definitely think you should too. These two teams take a lot of threes, high volume of their shots. For Tennessee, it's 41% of their shots are from deep. For South Carolina, 43%. And these offenses are super efficient, especially from beyond the arc, shooting over 34%, both of them. I think in this spot, Tennessee's a great defense. They're one of the best on the interior, a little bit worse outside. So I think we could see South Carolina do enough to keep up. And then for South Carolina, the three-point defense is a little bit of a problem. And as well, despite these teams taking a lot of threes, really good offensive rebounding-wise. So we could see some second-chance opportunities here, which is great for us when we're looking for the over. These are both top 50 teams in offensive rebounding rate. So I like where this number is compared to what I expect the pace to pick up to in this game. I could see this thing getting a little bit more to 140 points as opposed to where we have this at mid 130. So give me the over here in South Carolina and Tennessee. Next up, staying at 7 p.m. here. This is, I think, probably my favorite of my 4 plays today. I like Indiana money line quite a bit against Iowa. Big struggle for Indiana this season has been rebounding, both offensive and defensive side of the ball. They just have not rebounded well. So if I'm looking for an opponent that they can beat, especially being at home, which should benefit them, it's a team that needs to be struggling as much on the offensive and defensive glass as they are. And that's Iowa. They've struggled to rebound as well. Don't think they'll be able to take advantage of the biggest weakness here for this Indiana team, which is surprising that they're struggling so much rebounding wise, because these are two teams that have a ton of length and they don't take many threes whatsoever. So if you're looking to analyze this game, you got to look at how these teams defend on the interior, which is exactly what these two offenses want to do. They want to score inside, score around the rim. They got some length here to be able to do that, both of these teams. So Iowa running a very efficient offense, have all season. They're really fast and they can put up points in bunches. But Indiana matches up really well defensively because I mentioned the size and the fact that this team doesn't shoot very much from the outside. They've got the size to defend inside. 47.5% opponents are shooting from 2. That's top 70 in the country. So Indiana has those answers to defend on the interior. But for Iowa, don't have those answers. And that gives me even more concern here when they're on the road in this game. Their opponents are shooting 51.1% from 2. That's 213th in college hoops. I'm looking for these bigs from Indiana to have a big night, whether it's Ware, whether it's Malik Renault. I think these guys will be super efficient in this game. Hopefully Ware, who's a game time decision, will play. I do expect him to. Indiana, you'll find them right around to pick them. So I'm comfortable taking them here on the money line as basically a -110. You'll find this number at. Next up, let's talk about two teams that burned us on Saturday. I like Boston College -3 at home against Syracuse. Now, this is two teams, again, took our money on Saturday, but I do think with this matchup, I do lean towards the Eagles here at home as well. So we talked about Syracuse on Saturday struggling to defend on the interior, and man, was that ever not the case against NC State. We'll talk about it a little bit here. One of the worst offensive nights I've seen this season. But with Quentin Post leading the way for BC, I think this is a spot here for them to score a little bit more efficiently than NC State did, because BC is one of the more efficient offenses, much, much more efficient than NC State. They're 57th in adjusted efficiency. This offense for BC likes to score inside, Post leading the way there. He fouled out in the game against Notre Dame. In this game, he should stay out of foul trouble. Syracuse doesn't get to the line too much, so I'm good there, comfortable there. With BC as well, should win the rebounding battle. Syracuse outside the top 250 in both offensive and defensive rebounding. So if we're looking for some extra possessions to grab a hold of, BC can do a good job here. Also do a good job taking care of the ball, where Syracuse has kind of tried to grab some extra possessions, forcing some turnovers. BC shouldn't do that. Even better, of course, being at home. Now, what I'm also looking at is BC to have some answers at the rim, because Syracuse, again, with Judah Mintz, they're attacking the rim. They're scoring from the interior. They're getting all their points from two. BC defends quite well. 49% their opponents are shooting, so that's a good advantage there. And while they do that as well, what I really like is they defend well from two, but they also do it without fouling. They're 84th in opponent free throw rate, so they can defend without putting their opponents at the line, because Judah Mintz has just been living at the line the last two nights. He has 35 free throw attempts in his last two games. I believe he had 20 against NC State. 14 points came from the free throw line of the 20 he had in the game. I think Boston College could do a much better job than NC State did on Saturday. So I like them here as a short favorite against Syracuse here. So take him as a 3-point favorite. All right, and the last one, the team that could not find the bottom of the bucket, NC State, Miami. I love the over here, 152. So yes, the Wolfpack are coming off probably their worst shooting night of the entire season. One of the worst nights I've seen this entire season as well. They shot just 36% from the field. And for most of the game, they were shooting better from three than they were from two. They were at one point shooting around 18% from two until we got into the latter half of the second half. So for this NC State team, I love the bounce back spot here, because at home this year, they have yet to, in just one game, it was the opener of their season, have they scored less than 75 points in a game. And that game, they had the Citadel, they scored like 72 and played a lot of the bench. So at home, they consistently are putting up 75 plus points. And these are two teams that are going to run the floor at a really high pace offensively. Miami's 28th in tempo, and then NC State is 63rd. So you'll see these teams playing very fast, getting points in bunches. And NC State's a team that constantly needs to score inside. That's their offense. That's their bread and butter. And Miami, over the years, this has been a huge pain point for them defensively. They don't have a lot of size. Omir playing that center spot is a guy just around 6'7". They don't have the size to defend on the interior. Opponents are shooting 52.6% from two. That's 289th in the country. Look for NC State to take advantage of this in a big way. But think Miami can match. Super efficient offense. They got elite guard play from Nigel Pack and Ugo Poplar. So expect this team to be able to score from the outside. They're shooting over 38, almost 39% from three this season. And NC State ranks 235th in three-point defense. So look for these guards to have a big night, and then look for Burns and the guys on the interior for NC State to have a big night here. I think this game should be closer to 160, like 156 is where I'd probably see this thing being in a better spot, and could move closer to. So at 152, happy to grab this thing on the over. Those are my 4 favorite plays in college basketball for Tuesday. A great slate here, guys. If you're looking for more, drop me a follow on Twitter, and as well, Lines at Lunch. We're live here on YouTube every single day at noon Eastern time. We're talking college basketball, the NHL, the NBA, everything. We're talking sports betting wise. So tune into that as well. Give us a follow on Twitch at OwnersBox Sports. I'll include that link too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.